From the Department of Communication in Phillipsburg, this is a special edition of Inside Government with Cedric Peterson.
To our audience here at home and around the world, you're now Inside Government. In this edition of the program, I'm speaking to my colleague down at Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs. We like to call it CDFHA for short, under the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, Community Development Officer, Mr. Riegnald Arrindell. Riegnald, it's great to have you back in the program once again.
Greetings, Cedric, and greetings to your listeners and viewers, of course, and it's great to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you. World Food Day 2022 coming up, observed in the month of October, the 16th to be specific. Let's establish some background information as it relates to World Food Day. Inform us. What is this initiative about from the UN level?
All right. So the World Food Day is actually the brainchild of the Food and Agricultural Organization, which is an arm of the United Nations. And it's really a day that is used as a call to action. Because as we know, Cedric, even before the pandemic, hunger, poverty, malnutrition is an alarming issue around the world. So they established this day to draw attention to it and also to encourage global leaders, policy makers, right, to allocate more resources and investment towards combating hunger around the world.
A collective action across 150 countries worldwide, and St. Martin is no exception. We have our role to play. What does the World Food Day mean to, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals? How does it play its role there?
Well, it's so interesting that you ask because the two complement each other. As we know, one of these Sustainable Development Goals is zero hunger. And this is really one of the commitments that was signed by global leaders that sets out a number of actions to be not only initiated, but hopefully completed, at least by 2030. It's known as the 2030 Agenda. And of course, many of your listeners and viewers may know that St. Martin is signatory to this ambitious treaty, as it were. And of course, the government in its governing program has dedicated several passages in parts of its governing program to address the task and initiatives it intends to undertake in order to address hunger and poverty on St. Martin. So just like everyone else, every nation has a role to play if we want to see the total eradication of course, poverty and hunger. And I must say that this initiative that I will delve into as the conversation goes on does its best to complement and support some of those goals.
Global challenges seen around the world include, of course, the pandemic, climate change, rising prices, international tensions. Bakari, as CDFHA, how do we fit in as St. Martin in the global challenge? What are we seeing here at home as it relates to World Food Day and food issues as a small island developing state?
Well, CJ, you touched on some key drivers. We all know the impact of climate change, especially when it pertains to more stronger hurricanes in our part of the world. We've also noticed the heat waves that has affected nations across the world also. And of course, we have also been very disturbed by the global supply shocks, especially when it comes to food production around the world. And this in turn has somewhat limited the access of food to many deserving families on St. Martin in the region, as well as the broader globe, of course. Now, you can imagine just coming off of, let's say, the pandemic, where many persons are unemployed, underemployed, combined with the astronomical rise in food prices, it kind of puts healthy, nutritious food out of the reach of many persons. And thereby we would have witnessed the growing demand for food assistance, which is, I must commend those NGOs that play such an instrumental role in providing food boxes or food packages to many deserving families. Now, our department, the Department of Community Development, is no exception. And we are trying to not trying, we are playing our role to empower families living in a fragile conditions through our various interventions. Not too long ago, of course, we had our agroecology program, and now we are coming with a cooking demonstration. And I'm really excited to talk about that.
And I want to actually get into that with you, just to be specific and kind of put us into that frame of reference and point of the conversation. After establishing what World Food Day 2022 would mean for us this year, your department,
Sure.
CDFHA, Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs, will be hosting 4 free cooking demonstrations. Provide us some inside information there in regard to the initiative itself. Where did that come from, and what you're expecting from this project?
Excellent. So the cooking demonstration is basically in response to what we are seeing in the community, Cedric. As you would know, because of the rising food prices, it means that many persons on a limited budget can only afford so many items. And as you would know, because you can only afford so many items, it means to a large extent, you might be preparing the same food the same way almost every other day. And of course, that can lead to fatigue and boredom. And of course, you're not going to be excited about eating the same thing all the time. So what we did in response and to target in to specifically to that particular group, we came with a cooking demonstration. We like to call it cooking on a budget, right? Whereby you can take everyday items from your pantry and create different recipes. All right. So that's basically the cooking demonstration. But again, we're going to get deeper into that, I'm sure.
Talking to Community Development Officer Riegnald Arrindell at Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs, a department under the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor. They have an initiative coming up telling us how we can utilize the stuff in our pantry so that we can make sure we can cook a variety of meals and keep ourselves healthy and motivated on a daily basis. Stay tuned. My conversation with Riegnald continues right after these public service announcements. You're Inside Government.
The Civil Registry Department brings you a message on requesting a family tree.
A family tree shows the link in the relationship between people in several generations of a family. This can be requested at the Civil Registry Department and can be used at the notary for court proceedings. To request a family tree, you must submit the following to the Civil Registry Department: valid identification, a letter with a short description stating the purpose of your visit, relationship to the family, personal data on the person whom the tree is being requested, personal data of family members, mention up to which generation you are requesting the family tree, telephone number, home or mobile, email address, preferred communication channel, authorization letter if necessary with copy of identification of authorized person. Persons whose information were not updated or were not registered in the basic administration will not be included in the family tree. Payment of 80 guilders must be made to process your request. Depending on the length of research, an additional 80 guilders will be charged. Please contact the Civil Registry Department for more information at Swaliga Road No. 1, Phillipsburg, St. Martin, or call us at 1-721-542-0652 or email us at burkersakensxm@stmartingov.org. You can also visit our website at www.stmartingov.org. Civil Registry, Back Office Services.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Civil Registry Department.
If you're just joining us, I'm having a conversation with my colleague at Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs, Mr. Riegnald Arrindell. He's the Community Development Officer under this department. And we're talking World Food Day 2022, which is observed on October 16th. Riegnald talked about an event in our first segment as it relates to the upcoming event. The department, CDFHA, will be engaging and will be hosting 4 free cooking demonstrations. Because now you started talking about this as a part of an initiative to get people to understand, you can take advantage of the things that are currently in your pantry and make a variety of meals that you're not bored with, fried peas and dumpling every single day. You can spice it up a little bit, change things up a little bit, and I like that initiative there. So give me some more insight there concerning how this program is going to work.
Okay, a few years ago, we had what is called the Taking Control Through Budgeting program. And a component of the program was teaching persons how to, cook on a budget, of course. Now, Cedric, just like you, I like to do assessments. I like to evaluate because I want to improve the product. All right. I want that it always remains relevant to our target audience. So after doing the assessment and getting feedback from persons, we realized that many persons really appreciated the opportunity to be introduced to these new recipes. Okay, so based on the feedback, we thought it worthwhile to offer this particular program again with the hope of empowering more person, with the hope of exposing more person to these quick, easy, and affordable meals that they can then use in their daily lives, of course. Now, just to backtrack a bit, Cedric, World Food Day, right? I have to commend the schools, the various primary schools and the high schools, because we had the opportunity to visit their gardens, to learn about what they're doing, to learn of the manner in which the students have been engaging and interacting with the entire process. And we were so filled with pride and astonishment when we saw not only what they are doing, but the potential that school gardens have. So when you asked the question earlier about how do we relate and how are we playing our role, I will point immediately also to the schools and with their gardening program. And of course, I can't forget our local farmers who have been in this particular craft and sector for decades, and just like the schools with sufficient support, in my humble opinion, would be able, to accelerate St. Martin's ability to meet particular targets when it comes to achieving zero hunger. Um, so one thing we recognize because of the climate change, because of the global supply shock, Cedric, is the fact that food production, sustainable food production, must be very high on the agenda. And that's why we do applaud the initiative of the Ministry of Tiat, for their work in terms of crafting. I'm not sure if it's published as yet, but I did hear via the media that there is an agricultural policy in the making. So that's always good news, if I may say so. So a part of the project, Cedric, because we want to promote local produce, because we want to promote local production, and we want to highlight our partners, we wanted to partner with the schools with the intention of procuring some of their fruits and vegetables and herbs and so to incorporate it into the cooking demonstration. That is the hope, that is the desire. But we know Mother Nature at times has her own program, and we just simply have to go with the flow. Because you would imagine that last month we were visited by a system, right, and that had an impact on the crops. Now we see the butterflies all around. I love the butterflies. It's a sign of life and renewed hope and rejuvenation, but they also have an impact on crops also, you see. But notwithstanding that, we recognize the importance of partnering with these institutions because several research papers that I have read, and the title doesn't come to me right now, suggest that school gardens can play a pivotal role, in that entire ecosystem when it comes to food production. Because at the end of the day, the schools that we've engaged with, they love this program. They love the fact that the students have been responding positively towards it. It's a great avenue for entrepreneurship. It's also a great avenue, to provide food, especially to our deserving elders who love their fresh produce. So it can address multiple developments in your community at the same time. So I needed to underscore that, right? So when it comes to the cooking demonstration now, It will start on October 17th, right? It's actually 5 sessions because we recently partnered with the Sundial School, and we'll be having a very special cooking demonstration by some of their students. And I'm going to get into that for just a minute, And I must say, Cedric, I'm a bit biased when it comes to Sundial because that's my alma mater. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy and proud about that. So the cooking demonstration, we have two experienced cooks coming in, and they will be showing our attendees, how they can prepare different items, different dishes, sorry. When it comes to juices, snacks, breakfast, of course, a vital component is about meal planning because we know meal planning plays such a great role when it comes to managing your finances. Once you've planned out your meals, you have your containers with food, you should be less inclined, right, to purchase food on the road. No shade to my entrepreneurs because I love them dearly, you see, but it's just an alternative to assist persons, to manage, their finances and such. So it will be held at the St. Peter's Community Center starting at 6:30 to 8:30. So we're going to have, it's going to be twice a week. So October 17th, 20th, then it's going to be the following week on the Monday, which will be the 24th and the 27th. And then the session at the Sundial School, which will be on November 3rd, right, will be at the Sundial School. And that's where we're going to have the cooking demonstration by the student.
Now, one would think that, cooking and using the terms simple doesn't necessarily mean healthy, but we're going to get more into that with Riegnald when we continue our conversation. We're talking to Community Development Officer Riegnald Arrindell from Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs. Stay tuned. World Food Day 2022 conversation continues right after the break. Stay with us.
St. Martin, listen up. The Civil Registry Department has taken 7 services online. That's right, you can now request a family tree, local address change, migration deregistration, a registration form, requests for existing certificates, transfer your driver's license, and a driver's license declaration, all online. Go to services.stmartingov.org/civil registry and easily complete a request form for the service that you need. You can also pay for the services online using a major credit card or debit card and receive certain final products digitally as well. No traffic jams, no waiting in lines. And if you're on island or off, you now have full digital access to 7 civil registry services at services.stmartingov.org/civil registry. That's services.stmartingov.org/civil registry. For more information, call 542-0652. Now go online and request your service form today.
If you're just joining us, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm having a conversation with my colleague at Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs, Mr. Riegnald Arrindell. He's the Community Development Officer under that department. And we're talking World Food Day 2022. Fantastic initiative that we are encouraging everyone to be a part of. 4 free cooking demonstrations that's going to be taking place at the Rupert Maynard Community Center in St. Peter's, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Dates that you need to keep in mind that Riegnald talked about in our previous segment: Monday, October 17th, Thursday, October 20th, 2 sessions per week. There will also be Monday, October 24th, Thursday, October 27th, 2 sessions taking place there. And then they're wrapping up November 3rd, Thursday, November 3rd at Sundial School. Experienced trainers will be showing you how you can utilize the ingredients in your own cupboard to make meals and keep yourself healthy at the same time. Now, Riegnald, I kind of threw out there the balance between eating healthy, simplicity. The popular phrase going around these days is an oxymoron, because normally you have simplicity and yet it turns into, not too healthy eating. But how can simple recipes still be healthy?
Okay. Before I answer that question, there's a part I failed to mention also. that during the sessions, we're going to have a nutritionist who's going to give a brief demonstration, well, a presentation um, with regards to nutrition. And more specifically, those very tips that you're alluding to will be discussed. I don't want to eat in too much into her presentation, but what I will say is that um, what we've done in the past, we've taught persons or we share with persons strategies to read food labels, how to buy, when to buy, where to buy. We call it the conscious shopping or conscious consumer, and that also played a role when it comes to finding that particular balance, because sometimes you can find quite nutritious food, right, at a reasonable price. For example, some will tell you if you cannot afford the fresh, you can look into the frozen. You understand what I'm saying? Some persons will encourage you to buy in bulk, and then you can you can prepare multiple meals from one particular product. For example, right? Um, I was having a conversation with someone, and I was telling them that we will need star fruit for the cooking demonstration. So the person was like, well, yeah, you're probably going to make juice. So I said, no, we're going to make juice and muffins. You understand? So, and then when I said it, the person was kind of taken back, because in their mind, it was as though star fruit is only good for, juices. But now here you have the ability now to use one product and create different items, you see? So that also creates a balance, because we know star fruit is also juice. So chances are you might not need as much sugar that you would need for other pastries, which also speaks to your health. So we can go down the line, but that's just an idea of what we are going to introduce the attendees to. Another thing that I love, this is a joke I really, really love to share, was that we had someone who was not a fan of chickpeas. But we know chickpeas is nutrient dense. We know that chickpeas is very high in protein. We know that, okay? So one of the trainers was introducing let's call it nuggets made from chickpeas. So what I did, mischievous as I can be sometimes, I did not tell the person what it was made from. And the person was eating it and enjoying it and everything. And when I explained that it's actually chickpeas that they were eating, they could not believe it. You understand? So sometimes you just need to be introduced to a different way of preparing something in order to see whether you like it or, maybe it's not for you. Okay? And again, to speak to your question, Cedric, I think this is an opportune moment to visit our local farmers, gardeners, or whomever who would have the fresh produce to purchase, acquire, or do whatever it takes, or start your own garden. And that way you are guaranteed that you are not consuming items that was forced to be right in a container or sprayed with chemicals and so forth and so on. You see, and that's why I made mention earlier of the backyard gardening program that we had, the agroecology program, encouraging persons, right, to start growing those items that they know they buy frequently. Okay? So, and the response has been great. I must say the response, persons have approached me in the street. They have asked their questions. I must say though that we are asking persons to please register before Friday, October 14th. Okay, we have the limited spacing, of course. Initially, Cedric, when we were writing this particular project, we wrote it for persons who are unemployed, underemployed, who are able to attend all of the sessions. However, based on the feedback, we would say for those who want to learn, right? For those who have an interest in it, to please come. It's totally free. Persons will only have to pay attention. That is it. And there will be an opportunity to taste what is being prepared. So I think better it cannot be. All right. And most importantly, CJ, because we are all community-minded persons. What I love about these initiatives is that persons come as, let's say, strangers, but by the time they leave, there's a certain camaraderie, togetherness. camaraderie, okay? And that's a beautiful part about it, because here is where we start developing those relations amongst persons. That's where we start talking about that cohesion that we are striving for as a people. That's where we talk about community development. You see? So it has many spin-offs that we are so proud and excited about. So we are really hoping that person grab this opportunity. They can visit any one of the help desks. We have a help desk in St. Peter's, Dutch Quarter, by the former Dr. Bryson office. We have one in Colby, of course, across from ACE Mega Center. And we have one in Hope Estate near the primary school. So you can go, you can register, right? And then, of course, we will be happy to welcome you starting on Monday.
World Food Day 2022, CDFHA, Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs, helping out the community of St. Martin through the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor, providing critical information on how we can keep ourselves fed in a very, very troublesome time in the world post a pandemic where the world has been impacted, prices are increasing. We have our role to play, but CDFHA is helping us to gain some insight into how we can do so effectively and not have to break the bank in order to make sure that we keep ourselves sustained. Riegnald, I want to give you the opportunity in the final moments we have here in the program, final words to the general public.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cedric. It's always a pleasure to, be on your platform, be on a platform to share this information with your listeners and viewers. We really hope that person respond and register, of course, by any of the help desk. And of course, we are looking forward to having a great time with each and every one. For more information, you can contact the department at 520-4315. You can always call and get some more information. And again, you can visit the help desk. So with that being said, thank you so much. And of course, happy World Food Day in advance.
And a happy World Food Day to you, too. Community Development Officer Riegnald Arrindell at Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs, a department under the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor. Riegnald, it's great to have you once again in the program. Have a pleasant one. And to our radio listeners and television viewers, thank you for tuning in and being a part of this conversation. If you've missed this conversation with Mr. Arrindell, be sure to catch video on demand at two locations. That's facebook.com/SXMGOV. And be sure to subscribe to the official Government of St. Martin YouTube channel at youtube.com/Government of St. Martin. And that be sure to hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all future programming coming out of the Department of Communication. On behalf of all of my colleagues down at the Community Development, Family and Humanitarian Affairs, and here at the Department of Communication, I'm Cedric Peterson. Thanks so much for tuning in.